User submitted story in our Scare Share series comes to us from Honduras and someone who we're just going to call A. A starts out the story by telling us that she was born in a small village in Honduras. She said that there are a lot of these villages and they are very rural, and some of them do not even have electricity. A is born in this village and she lives there with her mom and her dad. Now, in this village, there is this woman who A just called Carla, and Carla kind of had a thing for A's dad. So she ends up going after him, and then eventually A's dad does have an affair on A's mom with said Carla. At the point that all of this is happening, A is coming up on her preteen years, and Carla has a daughter that is A's age. Unfortunately, Carla's daughter, because of the whole situation, and everyone knows what is going on and knows that Carla wants A's dad, and A's dad has had this affair with her, Carla's daughter starts to bully A, and it gets to the point where it becomes really bad. So A's mom decides that she is going to send her to the city to live with her aunt, get her away from Carla and Carla's daughter, and hopefully all of these things will stop affecting her. Eventually, she will also move, but she does have things that she needs to get in order before she can go, so she's going to send A on ahead. A moves to the city, she moves in with her aunt, everything is perfectly fine. There are no issues, she's enjoying the city. 2 years later, her mom follows. A's mom ends up getting her own place, and she then moves out of her aunt's house into her mom's home. She says this is when the activity starts. The first night that they are staying in A's mom's house, she is in bed with her. She's like, I haven't seen my mom. Like, I want to sleep with her. So she does end up sleeping in her room. And she says that she does remember being kind of scared. Like, she doesn't know why. It was just something, the vibes. And she says she feels something pat her on her head while she's laying in bed. She looks over at her mom. Her mom is facing the other direction. She knows that it is not her mom touching her. She says that she is terrified, but just pretends like she is sleeping until it stops. Doesn't wake her mom up, doesn't say anything. There were some other strange occurrences that did happen in the house, but nothing too big until A's cousin, who we're just going to call T, moves in with A and her mom. He is a little bit older than A. He's living in the house with them, and then he kind of confides in A that he is kind of having like some weird experiences in the house. She said, for example, his laptop would be closed and off, but would randomly start to play music. When he was there by himself, he would hear people talking, slamming doors, running around the house, and he was alone. A ends up sharing this with her mom, who also has had experiences in the home, and says that she will hear doors slamming, she will hear people running around, she will hear voices when she's at home by herself. She told her, one time I was standing here and I was washing dishes, looking out the window, and there was this very heavy lock on the gate. And she said that the lock started to move like something was trying to get out of the gate. They all get together. They're talking about their strange experiences that they're having in the house when they're by themselves. A shares like she's had doors where she's going to like go to walk through them and they just swing open in front of her. She has heard people talking. She has heard people running around the house, doors opening and closing. She said one time she was sitting on the couch. She was looking at her phone. Something funny popped up on the screen and she laughed. And she said, it was loud. And she heard someone right next to her, like very loudly say, shh. In her email, A wrote that when it comes to these types of things within her culture, you do not let your fear of these entities or these things control you. You rebuke it in the name of Jesus, you tell it to get out, or you just are like, I'm going to respect you and you respect me. Now, the incidents that they were having inside the home were pretty minute, so they ended up just learning how to live with it. At this point, it is still her mom, and her cousin living in this house, and her cousin get together, and just to personify this thing and what they are feeling, they end up giving it a name, Roberto. He says that they live with Roberto for years. They just deal with these things, and it is what it is. You just don't let the fear control you. If it's bothering you, you rebuke it in the name of Jesus, and you move on. The thing is that Roberto never left. Now, A says that she has a big family, so follow the story, but another cousin of hers, who is a female, we're just going to call them E, starts dating this guy. E is coming over to her mom's house a lot. They are hanging out. At this point, A is like 17 years old. E brings her boyfriend one day, and he said he's going to come in and he's going to cook them lunch. From what A knows about this guy that her cousin E is dating, she has found out that he is a brujo, spiritual healer within their culture. They haven't said anything to him about what's going on inside the house or Roberto, but he walks in to cook them lunch, and immediately he's just like, this place isn't right. Something is here. A ends up telling her cousin's boyfriend, like, yeah, we've, had like some experiences. And he's like, no, this thing isn't good. Like, I can take care of this though. So he ends up going out to his car, grabs some incense and some other items, and comes back inside. He's walking around the house. He's kind of chanting. He's burning this incense, and he gets to the door to her cousin's room. And he looks at A and he tells her, oh, this is where it's most comfortable. I'm going in here. He goes in there and he shuts the door. A says he's in there for like 15 minutes. He comes out and he's got this look on his face like he's troubled. He's like, what is going on here? So he goes up to A and he asks her, did you name this thing? And A ends up telling him like, yeah, we named it Roberto, but it was like kind of like a joke because it was never leaving, like it was always here. So he ends up telling A, like, well, yeah, now he thinks that, like, you want him here. You've given him a name, you've given him a space. Like, he likes it here and he doesn't want to leave. He goes on to tell A, you're actually very lucky that he does like you. He does like the space that you have created for him, because he has not always been here. He wasn't here when you moved in. He came with your mom. He was sent by someone to wreak havoc upon your family, to cause your mom to go insane, to cause your mom to hurt you. But when he saw your family, he decided that he liked you. He didn't want to do those things anymore. You made space for him, you gave him a name, and now he likes it here. He ends up telling A, look, I'm going to make a deal with this Roberto, who you have named. I am going to tell him that he can stay, but he cannot stay inside the home. He is welcome to stay outside on the property, but if he is going to stay, we're flipping the script on why he was sent here, and he's going to now be protection for you and your family, as opposed to being sent here to destroy your family. A's like, okay. He goes back into her cousin's room, shuts the door. He comes out of the room a few minutes later and he tells her, okay, like, I have given him the stipulations. I've let him know, like, under what circumstances he can stay. He has agreed to those. I found this machete in your cousin's room. I'm leaning it right here against the wall, a way that it's not going to fall on its own. When the machete falls, he's accepted the deal and he's going to go outside. He said that they all sit in the living room for a few minutes and just wait. And eventually, after about like 10 minutes, the machete falls down. She feels this wind run past her in the living room, and even like this swinging door to go to outside, like, it starts swinging on its own. She says that her cousin's boyfriend, the Brujo, stands up and he was like, okay, the deal is struck. We're done. After this, A's cousin and A's mom experienced nothing inside the home. She says that anyone who comes onto their property with any ounce of ill intent feels oppressed, feels threatened, feels like they don't want to be there, just is given an icky feeling where they just cannot stay. A ends up telling her mom everything that her cousin's boyfriend did within the house, everything that he told her. A's mom ends up telling her, okay, well, that makes sense because, you know, when I left the village that we were living in, Carla did practice witchcraft, so I know who sent this thing to try to destroy our family. When it comes to Carla and A's dad, it doesn't sound like anything really came from that. It kind of sounds like A's dad was like a little bit of a dog when it came to women. And A says, yeah, she does agree. Like, it was really crappy what he did. But she did want to note in this story that, like, even though he wasn't the best husband, he was a really wonderful dad, has always been present for her, has always told her how much he loves her. So even though, you know, that aspect of relationships, he's not great, as a dad, he's wonderful. Now, Carla does try to reconcile with A's mom. Like I said, it was a small village. Like, they obviously, like, knew each other. They were friends, whatever. So she ends up showing up at the house one day, and she tries to come onto the property, and she is so, like, feels so oppressed and just, like, she can't be there that she actually can't even stay. But then after all of this happens, when it comes to Carla, she just kind of had a string of bad luck. Carla's mom ends up getting really sick. She needs to have surgery. She has cancer. The doctors go in, and while they're doing surgery inside of Carla's mom, A says that they find leaves, dirt, string, just weird stuff that should not be inside of a human body. They don't know what to make of it, but they do the surgery and they tell her, you're cancer free. Not long after that, the cancer comes back aggressively and her mom ends up passing away. She says she doesn't know if it's like karma, coincidence, Roberto, you know, what she did turning around on her. She said, I don't know. But she says that Roberto is still there at their house, and anybody who comes onto their property with ill intent has to deal with Roberto because he's not leaving. So let me know what you guys think about that. I think there is this thing with, like, when you like send bad stuff to people, isn't it like it returns to you times 3 or something? I don't know. That's not my thing, so I could be very well wrong. But let me know your thoughts on that. Roberto is the MVP because he made up his own mind. He wasn't hurting their family. That everyone has a really wonderful day. If you have a story that you would like to submit for Share a Scare, there's an email in my bio, so please send that over. Love reading them. I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.